everyone. Welcome to the official launch page for our Kickstarter event. This is Mark Torres, that came from the radio. Hopefully, many of you know me. Some of you may not. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Abby. I'm an interior designer by profession, but I do graphic design on the side sometimes. And how did I meet you, Mark?
Well, we met online, and you started doing editing for the radio show.
Yeah. And then he pulled me into this designated campaign, and everything looks good.
Yeah, Jade did a fantastic job. It's more old school, I mean, it was done in the 90s, so it looks like a 90s comic, and it's paced like that and reads like that. But I think a lot of people will enjoy this book.
So I went to the school. History. What is his? I did a lot of things. So in college, I went to the school called the Philippine School of Interior Design, where everything they taught was just about interior design. But when I was younger, in my around 10 to 15 years old, I went to art school with Ted Luna, the descendant of one of the Lunas, which is like a very prominent, famous Filipino artist, historical artist. So I was trained by one of his descendants when I was 10. I got into anime drawing also, but all traditional, nothing digital. So I'm only learning the digital part of the graphic design at present.
The artwork was done 30 years ago. It still holds up to this day.
You mean
like I was saying on
Wow.
I was saying on Monday when we played the video, the hands were fantastic. Every time I was looking at all the hands drawn, the hands are great.
So is that your own art, or is that?
Wait, Chris is surprised. What do you got?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought you said you read it. I thought you said you wrote it 30 years ago.
But the
artwork is 30 years old?
Yeah, I wrote it 30 years ago. A friend of mine, his brother, was like, "Yeah, I'll draw it for you," and he drew 110 pages. It took him, I think, like 2 years to do it.
Wow!
And after he finished the 2 years, I had him go back to because he got better as he went along doing the artwork. So I had him go back to the first issue and redraw a couple of panels and pages from the original first 22 pages. So it's actually mixed in there. And then we had Peter. He inked most of the first 22 pages, and now he's doing it. Now he's inking the rest of the 88.
But dude, man, that looks like art that you can find now.
Yes, it's really it holds up. That's what I'm saying. The art holds up and the story holds up. So I'm like, all right.
You need the traction. You were inspired by Stranger Things to relive your childhood. There you go.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he went to school with the Duffer Brothers, and he read their fan fiction 30 years ago. Oh, this is good.
Mark, this piece of art right here looks fantastic.
So that is art by Babe artist Francesco. He was most famous for doing a Savage Sea Dragon. He's still out there doing some high-end quality work. We're 98% sure that the cover is going to be tweaked a little bit because he wants to rework it. So that's like it's not the final version.
Oh, okay. It looks fantastic now. So I can't wait to see.
That's inked by Peter Palmiotti as well, which is the only time Francesco has ever been inked by anybody else.
Ooh. Well, we got a lot of firsts here.
Yeah.
I like how vibrant this cover is, though.
Yeah.
It really is. And, of course, here come some of the pages. Yeah, dude.
Who did the colors?
The colors is by my former co-host Hassan Godwin. He's a colorist. He's a artist, a writer, an inker in his own right, and he works on Secret of the Sire. That he has his own show now, but he used to be my co-host for Came From Radio, who I met at the comic book school 30 years ago.
Solid colors, bro.
Dude, I saw the
Really
name
nice.
at the finish of the Kickstarter, and I was like, "Is that the same Hassan I know?"
That's the same Hassan you know, yeah.
Oh wow, Chris, you were gonna say?
Oh no,
okay.
I just said it was solid, real
Okay.
solid. Like I was looking at it, like, yo, man, this. I really dig the artwork, and I can't wait to read the story.
Dude, you got to see the ones where the eyes glow, or there's fire coming out.
He does some amazing stuff.
Oh yeah.
No, because he just finished up a statue for
I think I can
Teddy's.
show it. Go ahead, keep talking about it.
Yeah, no, he just finished a statue for Teddy's or whatnot, but he didn't tell me about none of these premium options. What?
Doesn't he
I did
always
not
say
know
whatever your imagination is?
Exactly.
I was surprised myself.
He
I was looking at it, I was
does.
like, what? It got magnets? I was like, what? These little so
Oh, that's so
I'll put
awesome.
it on the kitchen.
Hold up,
I'll put it on
light
the
up
kitchen.
eyes.
He's
Yeah.
also not limited by age or PG
Yeah.
ratings.
Exactly. Which is
I like how
funny.
you- I like how you
told us
put
some
that.
stories.
He's just to quote him. I'll do whatever your imagination is as long as you pay for it.
Exactly. You said it just like him too. Dude, look at this. He made this fantastic teddy for Chris. It looks oh look at it.
Yeah.
I'm in love with this thing.
It's fucking awesome. Now I'm gonna tell him to turn the hammer into a blowtorch or something in the back. I don't know.
That might be difficult in the state of New York, but
Put a little lighter in there, be all good.
Yeah, exactly. Look.
Yo.
Thanks, Jordan.
Yeah.
That's why I love when people have shadow rabbit tears, because these are, dude, your imagination, it's all what your imagination can come up with, and he'll create it, and he does a great job with this stuff. I gotta admit, for a project that's 30 years in the making, this thing looks like it looks great.
it looks like it was inspired by Stranger Things.
Which
Yeah.
is
Funny
funny.
you mentioned that. I went to the comic book school with the Duffer 30 years ago.
That'd be great.
We went to the New York Academy of Comic Book Art. And
Oh my God.
I am Peter Pagliatti. I've been working in comics for 30 years plus. Mostly known as an inker, but I've dabbled with other stuff. Worked for Marvel, DC, Valiant, had a few books published through Image, but mostly I've worked through, 100 or 2 independent comics throughout the years. It's hard to find a bio of my work where it's accurate, but but yeah, mostly as an inker. I've always drawn, growing up, been into comics and stuff, but I decided a little later in life to make it an official job. So I was 28 when I started, and I figured inking was my way into the door. But I love it so much. I still do it to this day, even though, now I'm spending a lot more time creating my own books and stuff, which I'll push out the door soon enough. And yeah, I'm mostly known for my work at DC when Aquaman had a hook. That was Peter David, Jim Calvary, and myself. Did a whole bunch of issues that, our run inspired the look of the movie when Aquaman came out. And yeah, did a lot of random stuff at Marvel, a lot of X-Men stuff, which was great, but it was like 2 pages here, 3 pages there, and stuff they needed overnight. So I actually only got credited once. But that's Marvel. It was a brutal machine when I was working there in the mid 90s or whatever it was. And yeah, I worked on Razor, I worked on Valentine, I worked on Shadow Flame,
Century.
Century. Well, that was at Marvel. I'm trying to think of like independent titles that maybe somebody out there would know, but like just a lot of stuff. I was always happy to get the next gig, to just keep working. So my career and 30 years worth of books I worked on is a mishmash of everything. But that's why I'm getting focused, and I'm going to be working on my own books going forward. which will be ongoing series and where I could really make a name for myself, as opposed to the previous 30 years.
See, that's a great incentive, especially if you want something that is decorative in that aspect. That's a good tier.
Yeah.
I like that. I kind of like that here. And then that's the 220 and everything to that magnitude. So pretty much, like I said, this is a very first campaign, and I like the idea as far as the $1 shout out on the actual show that you run here, Mark. That's a good idea too.
So that was a happy accident. So I did not know, despite talking to many people about Kickstarter, I thought, as you see where it says pledge without a reward, I thought that you would put that on it, the person who's making a Kickstarter campaign. So I was like, I don't want to put that on there. I'll just put something for $1 because on my show for our Patreons, we have a $1 shout out for a month. So I was like, I'll put in $1, put that on there. So I didn't know that would appear on the Kickstarter. So it was like by accident. I was like, it's fine. I'll leave it on there.
And to me, it's like it gives them an incentive because a lot of times, it's like sometimes people may not have the money to get the physical book, but they still want to participate. And a shout out is just as good as getting the book. So that's why I like that idea. I try to encourage people. It's like, hey, if you don't want the product, giving $1 helps. They don't understand how much that helps.
Yeah.
In the long run.
I feel like we can have you guys individually on the show and just talk so much about just your careers and stuff. But we definitely want to talk about the campaign and the book itself.
Yes. So Peter, I just want to have a question.
Absolutely.
Peter. So what was it about Designated that attracted you to the project?
Well, when I met Mark years ago at a small New York convention, I was always about the art first. And I was impressed with the art, and he gave me a script, and I took the script home and read it, and gave him a call. And was like, "This is a really good script. It's a beginning, middle, and end. It's 5 issues, a complete story." And I was very impressed because, most of the time the stories weren't so great in the small independent books I was working on. So this was like, this is a step up. Let me go with this guy.
Yeah, you know what? 2003 was very, I feel like everybody was like, yo, I want to put my own book out. And you're right. Some of it wasn't, it's not what you see today. Like today, I feel like the levels have definitely improved. But Mark, and I will say, because, I'm lettering the book, so I've read the script. It is. I agree with you, Peter. Very, very well written, and it moves. It's got a good pace to it. I definitely do like it.
It's interesting your approach because when I was listening to you, and then you listen to all of the the stories about alien probing and abductions, you could have gone that route and just say they implanted them because they abducted everybody, inserted them, dropped them back on the planet. But you decided to go a different route, which was good story building. Because you added your own twist and you didn't just capitalize on what was trending. You know what I mean? So I thought it was why did you go that route rather than what was typically heard, everybody knew and heard? I was abducted, they put a chip in me. I was abducted, they put a chip in me.
I don't know. I guess it didn't occur to me. I guess that's the simplest answer. It didn't occur to. It was on another stream, and someone was like, "Well, shouldn't the probe be up the butt?" I'm like, that's how you get it to the brain. I was like, I never thought about that. They just put it in the brain, through the butt. So it just never occurred to me. This is Sunburst. This is my mascot for the radio show. This is my first character that's ever been published in War of the Independence issue #1. For Red Anvil Comics, and she's been with me for longer than the designated characters are. She was actually drawn and created back in the school that I went to.
Gotcha.
And she's just been a favorite of mine, and she actually is not only was she my first published character ever, but she was also in a crossover that I managed to do, which was the Sunburst Phaser crossover with Mariano Nicieza, which is Fabian's brother, co-creator of Deadpool. It's War of the Independence, issue #2, Phaser Sunburst crossover that we got done, and that was 2010, if I'm not mistaken. So I got my book first published. It was my first time ever getting my character out there, but it still wasn't something that was all mine. So it was a crossover, so it was a collaboration between me, Mariano, and myself. So it wasn't the same as if you're doing it all on your own. And I remember when we got the reviews back for that book, seeing as how I had very limited input beyond the idea of the story and what my character did, those reviews were rough. But the best part was that they were like, we hate all this, but the story wasn't that bad. I was like, the story wasn't that bad. That's me. Yay.
That's me.
So I took a little. I'm sure the reviewer did not mean it for that way, but man, I was like, this is a great review.
You're like, I'll take it. There you go. That's the story. That's me. Like I said, we're definitely gonna have you guys on the show one-on-one and just deep dive into your careers and what you've been doing.
Right, it's the stories that are fascinating. You guys, each of you have unique histories that it's great for the viewer and the listeners to learn about. I mean, I think that's the fascinating part about and stuff that I never even knew about you guys, which is pretty awesome.
I'm super impressed that this is like the first comic from somebody. Looks really good.
Yeah, and the art still holds up to this day. Like, it doesn't look like it was done all that time ago.
No, it definitely doesn't. That's very cool.
Those teens right there get the crystals implanted into their brains and gain superpowers because of which.
Okay. That sounds like it would have been painful.
They were unconscious at the time. It's all good.
Oh my gosh, please tell me that they all had like the same dream where they were aboard a ship and then they all woke up and was like, dude, that was trippy. I had this dream that I was abducted. And everyone's like, wait, me too, though.
And then,
well, actually, what it was is that there was a massive car crash in front of the hospital where one of the people was getting the implant. And so the alien was like, hey, I got more subjects, and let's get them all in that one shot.
Check all these bodies, man. Just start popping them in there. They'll be fine. Let's just hide every one of these. It's so much easier than, waiting for another like willing subject, I guess. That's amazing. Okay, cool. So
I highlighted this, and then you said, "Okay, cool."
They can't have anal probed them and
into the
implanted
brain.
it in their brain.
Yes,
that's a long.
That's a really long probe.
Scenic route. That's the scenic route. That would be in the X-rated version of the comic. It's not X-rated.
Look, all men of a certain age understand what a colonoscopy is.
See, now you got me thinking. Man, I wonder if they did. Well, I mean, we don't show the process.
No.
Well, it is possible that they did it that way.
Oh my gosh, no. I would like to think they would have picked any of the much more near orifices before going with that one. Like, the Power Rider's like, no.
You know what? I like the outside the box thinking. I'm with you on that. Maybe if this gets funded all the way through all the 5 issues, because right now all the issues are drawn and written. The inks is already done for the first issue. Inks is partially done for the second issue. Pete's working on them right now. But maybe if we get fully funded for all 5 issues, the next story, how did they get? Go right into it.
In fairness, whenever you hear about aliens, you hear about 4 things. You hear about abductions, cattle mutilations, crop circles, and anal probes.
Oh yeah, yep. And I've got to say, I do like how she's gone through and made it very clear, like the rewards, they're bright yellow and very clear everything that you get. Because I've seen a lot of people who do this portion and you can't get a little fancier with it, but there's some people who have so much going on, like this right here that you got, right? This is quite the tier, and you definitely want to show off. Because it's one of your higher tiers, you want to show off all the goods there. I've seen people who've done these kinds of graphics, and you're just like, what do I get? Like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. There's so much here. And so this is very clean, very well done.
And I also added the link to the guy's website, so that way you can see exactly what kind of a thing you would get.
Fancy schmancy. Oh, okay. He does custom polymer clay sculpture. I'm just going to keep that reference. That could be in handy at some point. Oh my gosh, hold on, wait, you were showing? You gotta tell me when you show things. Yes, look at her.
So this is an example. I mean,
He's showing.
obviously, it would be one of the characters I have from the book. You can pick any character, any pose, custom design, handmade. It's beautiful. It's
That
not.
is
This is not
amazing.
painted. It's actually made with the clay colors.
That's
So it
impressive.
won't fade after time.
Very, very cool, man. I mess with polymer clay, and there's a ton of colors and a ton of cool stuff that you can get, but it can still be a pain in the ass to get it to look just right. And he's got a lot of detail in there. That is really impressive.
Because I said the story is already written. The pencils were already done 20 something years ago. We can actually give you issue 2, issue 3, issue 4, issue 5. So
Wow.
the next stretch goal would be you'll get issue 2. So anybody who bought issue 1, you'll automatically get issue 2. You don't have to pay anything extra. And if we make the next stretch goal, then the next goal will be issue 3, and you get 1, 2, and 3. And we get obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll get the whole trade if we make it up to whatever we need to get that done.
Nice.
That is actually a very different strategy than I've ever seen anyone else do. It's very bold, and that's something that I almost like. I love that you've got this.
Wait, I have a video for that.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
So the thing that I think is interesting is because usually, especially when creators are coming out with their books and kind of breaking onto the scene and everything, and granted, like you have your own show and your own audience, so it's not like you're brand new to any of this. But when people are kind of first doing it, if they've got issue 2, 3, 4, like, you know, in their back pocket, usually it's like, yeah, let's see how the first campaign does, and the second campaign, maybe we'll do 2 and 3 together or whatever. And instead you're like, oh no, if we do well enough on this campaign, we can get the whole trade. Like,
Yeah,
we can
because
get the entire trade just
I've
if we do
waited
good.
30 goddamn years. I want to get this done.
Fair. It's totally fair.
Let's just get it out there already. Come on, man.
I really love it. And you know that I love that you have this. The second you hit this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would put that your stretch goals at whatever mark they're going to be, the stretch goals are to get ever closer to getting the full trade. I would let people know that up front, just because I feel like it's a different, like, most people think of stretch goals, you think of like a keychain or a bookmark or a mini print, and everyone's like, okay, you know, whatever, it's more stuff. But like, this is like, no, this is the rest of the story. Like, we can get without having to do another crowdfunder and having to wait for that to get set up and wait for all of that shit to happen. Like, we could do this all now and we can make some real big strides. Like, that is really exciting, and that's something I would definitely make sure that people know about ahead of time, because that's not what most people do in these campaigns, and that's a really cool idea.
Thing interesting about this page is that, as you remember, he drew it way back when,
right?
And he drew it over a course of time. I think, like I said, about 2-3 years to do it. So this is actually after he finished the book. I had him go back and redraw a couple of panels. So this is actually his later work, even though it's in the first
nice
page.
Very cool. So this is like after gaining some skills and learning some new stuff, and then he goes in and he's like, all right, let me just do this again.
Yeah.
And let me keep her in nylons with pants.
Actually, I don't even remember what the original page was, if it was pants or not. I would have to actually go check. I haven't looked at those pages in quite some time.
It would be interesting to see. I love the idea of Natasha being a sociopath. I really love this, where she's just like, I just wanted to feel extra silky, or like she's like, I might get lucky, but I don't, like past Master Dan said, women sometimes wear nylons when they don't want to shave, which is also accurate. So she's like, I might get lucky, but fuck that skirt, I'm gonna put on pants. But in case I get lucky, let me just have a barrier so I can, like, oh, hold on, let me just take these off and don't worry about my legs.
See, now you got me thinking. I can actually go look for the page. I have all the pages over there if you want to see. I can find the original while you entertain yourselves. I can go and look.
Go for it. I'm
right.
curious.
So-
I'm now curious.
All right, so you're on your own, Pete.
I was
This
just
is
talking about you. Don't worry about it.
Original image, and she is wearing pants. Look at that.
Oh,
So she is
shiny.
just crazy.
And you can see the difference in quality.
Yes. Yeah, so look at that, and then look at this. Very different. Very different. I'm super stoked. This sounds like it's a lot of fun. It definitely, like you had said, you wrote it in the 90s, and this definitely, it feels like a really fun, just 90s kind of story. The other night, I turned on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, which
Secret of the Used.
Yeah, that's a horrible movie. But I put it on and really kind of was like, I remember watching parts of this when I was a kid and just being like, yes, this is the coolest thing ever.
Go
And
Ninja, go Ninja, go.
Exactly.
Go,
yes,
go.
exactly. And so I'm sitting here watching it, and I'm watching it as an adult going, there's like so much of this is so corny, and I just don't even care. Like, I'm so happy right now because I remember little me being like, yeah, go get him, Raphael. Like, okay, cool. But this really feels like it captures a lot of that same kind of energy and nostalgia where it's just like, it's because it's cool. It's because it's cool, because it's fun. And I love that you're not hammering into everybody like, here's all of the exposition as to why this is happening. It's like, no, they don't know. Like, it just happens.